Let's give a warm Think Summit welcome to our panelists from Currys and Accor and our moderator, our very own SVP of Marketing, Anjali Yukunde.
Take it away, team.
All right, thank you so much. I asked for K-pop demon hunters to welcome us on, but I was vetoed by the events team. If anyone has children, you know if you know. So thank you, everyone, and welcome. I'm so honored to be moderating this leadership panel with two absolutely brilliant people. And these are leaders who aren't just keeping up with change, but they're leading it, shaping it, and really setting the standard for all of us. So please join me in welcoming. I'll start with Julie White. She is the Chief Commercial Officer of Europe and North Africa, Premium, Mid-Scale, and Economy Accor hotels. And get ready to hear her mandate, because it's a mouthful. She leads across Europe and North America for all Premium, Mid-Scale, and Economy brands. Think things like Ibis, Novotel, Pullman, Fairmonts. She leads sales, marketing, e-commerce, loyalty, and revenue management. Please join me in welcoming Julie.
Wow.
All right, and get ready for another mouthful. Please join me in welcoming Dan Rubel. He reports to the CEO and leads all marketing for Currys. That includes CRM, loyalty, brand and advertising, social, PR, content and creative, in-store innovation, and promotional planning. Whew.
Sounds exhausting.
I think it does. I don't know how you guys are standing up here. Well, thank you. Please join me in welcoming Dan.
Thank you.
All right, so I want to just start by hearing a little bit about your journey. How did you get to the role? What is your mandate today? So let's start there. Julie?
Thank you. So I started actually in the travel industry in the airline side, so working on partnerships and commercial activities, and then took my journey into consulting for a few years, and then hopped over to hospitality, taking a lot of the lessons around how do we manage budgets efficiently, how do we drive consistency from the airline world into hospitality. Now, hospitality is great fun, and the distribution, the way we contact customers is very similar, but it's also a lot more fragmented. So a lot of what we work on is how do we develop a lot of that efficiency and gains, and that's part of my mandate with the team at Accor, is we are often working on behalf of our brands and building our brands, but we're also working on behalf of the owners that own the properties that contract with us to build our brands. And so we're working against their expectations as well as how we attract the customers. And our remit is generally about ensuring that we are developing customer confidence in the brand experience and making that brand experience as consistent and as value-oriented across all the range of our scales.
And you have so many great brands. I was just telling Julie earlier today as we were catching up, I'm staying at one of your properties in just a few months in Mexico. I'm very excited. So let's hear from Dan a little bit about your mandate and how you got to the role.
Yeah, so I cover brand and marketing. I was born in Manchester.
You're really starting from the beginning.
Yeah,
okay.
I actually went to school at the same school as Brian Cox went to school, so there is a link there. But in my 20s, I joined Procter & Gamble. I spent a decade with P&G, which probably make most of the things you'll find in your kitchens and bathrooms, and fragrances and all sorts. Then I jumped into retail for some reason that is still a mystery to me, and worked at what was the Shop Direct Group for a while, and now it's called the Very Group. And then I've been at Currys now for 7 years. So I've gone from being a revolutionary to part of the furniture at Currys, it seems. So that's my story, and remit-wise, it's all those bits and pieces, all united by, in effect, engaging customers in what makes Currys special, which for us is our colleagues, the expertise they bring every day in our 300 stores, and the fact that you can go in a store and see it and feel it and try it, which in the past was normal in electrical retail and now is a real USP.
Yeah, we were just reminiscing about how my first visit almost 20 years ago to a Dixon's Carphone warehouse, right? It's great to see how the brand has evolved and all the different moves you've made. So, Dan, you mentioned how to reach customers. I think for many of us, we felt 2025 has been a challenging time. There's been a lot of uncertainty. For example, Deloitte's CMO survey has shown optimism is at an all-time low among CMOs as they try and balance higher than ever revenue targets, but smaller than ever budgets. So Dan, I want to start with you. I know.
These poor CMOs, we need to get them a tiny little violin and play it for them, bless them. I'm sorry, this side of the room, you're all in the dark over there, and I don't have my back to you, so I'll keep turning to you. But yeah, I don't think anything's changed. I don't think anything's changed. I think that the companies have always wanted to make profit and do something, but also make profit. Cost is an important part of that equation. So every good company's always been lean on the cost side and invested in some areas and disinvested in others, and it's a different flavor each year. But I don't know. I don't think it's changed a lot at all. I think the demand for profit is the same as it always was. And I think if you happen to be a marketeer who's getting, especially a CMO, you know, I don't like this whole whinging CMO thing, and you're getting your budget squeezed against your will, well, you deserve it, man. You deserve it. You know, either your stuff's not good enough and it's a bad investment, or you're not communicating well enough, you're not convincing people it's a good investment. So, you know, stop whinging and make an impact is what I would say to them.
All right, I think my boss is in the room somewhere here. I'm gonna take note of that. Julie, I know you've experienced some different things because travel has had a different pressures because it's not a set price, right? You know, electric bike is an electric bike is an electric bike, but hotels, sorry, Dan, hotels, I mean, the price is so variable, right, Julie?
Absolutely, and we've been seeing since the COVID rejuvenation of travel, we were trading on incrementally higher prices as demand was so incredibly strong as people were going back out and reinvesting in experiences. And this last year, we've seen that trend really shift. So we went from price really driving our revenue model to prices starting to come down as we had consumer confidence start to weaken. But also we were overlapping. 2024 was an exceptional year for travel across Europe, especially in our core markets. So we operate across 48 different countries, but we have our core markets in France, UK, Germany, and Spain, as well as Poland, you could put up there too. Last year was an incredibly buoyant travel year. We had the Olympics in Paris, we had the Adele concerts, we had the Taylor Swift effect is real, I'm telling you, it's real. And prices across many markets really were at a peak. This year, prices have come materially way down. So we had to shift our revenue strategy and our marketing strategies to be volume-driven versus value or price-driven. That changed the way that we had to go to market, and not every market was responding in the same way. So our original marketing plans that we had designed, perhaps when we forecasted greater confidence, as we saw consumer confidence eroding, we had to shift, and we went into a lot of distressed inventory management and a lot of different changes to how to inspire travel that we hadn't been doing before. Mark and the CRM team being a key component of that and helping to drive last-minute distressed inventory booking and awareness. So we had also the budget cuts that I did moan about, I have to say. And for our side also, we have to give the proof point, like I mentioned, back to the owners of they pay us fees to represent the brands, and then we have to reinvest those in a way that they feel is good value for their investment in our brands. And so there was a lot of proof points back to our owners as they were seeing trading being difficult. So that's a kind of different story where we have spreading across multiple markets and on a very different demand type.
And you've mentioned kind of this, there's a lot of travel, customer preferences and how they travel is evolving as well. I mean, I was just reading, there's a lot of articles out there right now about how luxury travel is booming. So how are these kind of evolving preferences impacting some of your marketing strategies today and how you think about reaching those customers?
And definitely, luxury has been a growing segment across travel since, again, COVID, as people are really trading experiences over some things. Things are still good that you buy. But they are really telling each other, that's where I want to spend a lot of my free time and my money. What we're seeing is people are still investing in the high luxury experiences as part of that, but they're perhaps traveling less often. But also as prices have come down, we're seeing people being able to trade up the scale Whereas last year, maybe you were trading at and looking at an Ibis or a Novotel for your family holiday. Perhaps you could trade up a scale at the same value with the price mix that we have today. So we're seeing people trade up and down. We also see that people will, based on the experience they're looking for, you'll have someone that is maybe a midweek, one-night stay, traveling with us for an experience at a economy hotel. But then with their family, they may want to do the more higher end resort experience where they have a week stay. So it's a variance, and they trade up and down and across the scale quite effectively with us.
And I think, we're seeing that the behavior is changing as in this climate, but also there, you have a lot of email and mobile marketers in this room, a lot of CRM teams. Email and mobile investments are changing as well. I'm going to start with Dan. Dan, how do you see investment in these channels changing? Like, what does omni-channel mean to you, especially with brick and mortar stores?
I think certainly for us, investment in channels that work will go up, and investment in channels that don't work so well will probably go down and maybe even be eliminated. And thankfully for us, loyalty and CRM and the tools that we use, whether that be online, whether that be email, SMS, even direct mail, it's still going somewhere in the background. It's all important tools, and thankfully they're measurable. And in this era, I'd argue in every era, if you can measure it, if you can evidence commercial value, then no matter what headwinds hit a business, then the logical solution, the logical thing for an owner, for a CEO, is to carry on investing. Because why wouldn't you if you're still wanting to make a profit? So yeah, I think that the direction of travel is onwards and upwards. I think overall, a lot of businesses might be looking to especially in this moment, get leaner. And so you can look at it positively, glass half full, or you can look at it negatively and almost defend yourself if you're responsible for part of the marketing mix and evidence that value. Be commercial. CRM is kind of cool because it's magical in a way. I often sit and present to the Samsungs of the world and the big tech players, and they love it when we come and talk about what we can do with CRM because it's data and it's cleverly getting messages to certain little segments of people. You're pushing on an open door, but don't be kind of hoodwinked into thinking the magic and the storytelling is enough to cement future growth and future investment. It's not. You've got to evidence the value.
Yeah.
It's interesting. This is like the third time this week so far that I've heard someone mention direct mail. So maybe what's old is new again. But Julie, Dan talked a lot about the loyalty piece. I know that is a big driver, particularly in mobile for you. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So the membership loyalty to us is such an integral part about how we communicate with our customers on a daily basis, and also how we re-engage them to go and move across the brand scale. So Accor overall has over 40 different brands. I represent the premium mid-scale economy side. We have another division that is the luxury lifestyle side, and that includes across the whole range of that is our loyalty program. And it is really important that we bring people in, and perhaps they come into us with an experience like staying for a conference at a hotel, and they can then see the whole range of experiences that we also bring. We also augment that with the way that we invest in experiences beyond the stay. So our partnerships, our sponsorships, our investment in marketing with Paris Saint-Germain is the football team, for example, that brings the opportunity for members to earn their points with their stays, but then also burn their points with having experiences that maybe money can't buy. So we've been using a lot of that as ways, and we communicate that to our members through our CRM and also through our mobile app. And the integration of the two is incredibly important in how we message, how we build that engagement, bring them into the loyalty program, then hook them in to stay with our mobile app. It's also our best cost of sale for distribution, so we're not paying an OTA like Booking.com a 15-17% commission. We bring them in and we have them in our mobile app and for repeat bookings and repeat stays.
Yeah, I mean, I think the loyalty ties in really well to the things that you were talking about, how there's not really like a luxury segment, right? Like, if you're a loyal Accor member, which we learned recently, Dan, Dan's wife is a
Yes.
huge loyalty member for Accor, but you can go to any of the brands, right? Which kind of made me think about segments, right? We've heard a lot about segments and their limitations, and you face that at Accor because there's not really the luxury segment. Dan, we heard from Chloe and Chrissy from your team earlier at a great session about how they're using DaVinci to do that. Can you talk to us a little bit about how the day-to-day roles have changed and how it's changed the mindset of using or not using segments anymore?
Yeah, it's a bit of a headbender, isn't it? Because in a way, the power of DaVinci means that the old-fashioned view of humans trying to desperately identify lots of different segments and cultivate or craft a message for each of those segments is gone, and a black box will now work it out. Obviously the truth is somewhere in the middle, isn't it? The truth is that people will still send some stuff to everybody. People will still create some triggered sends, some segment-based sends, but certainly for us, and there's quite a lot of Currys people up here saying nice things about DaVinci. I don't know what's going on, but DaVinci's been a game changer, and it's enabled us to get to personalization at a scale that we've never managed before. And back to my point on measurability, is it just magic? Is it just beautiful and nice PowerPoint presentations? No, it's not. It's creating real control-tested, evidenced value in terms of the testing we've done, and the top line numbers are going in the right direction as well. So, it has been a real game changer for us. And as you go forward, as it gets bigger, we've only just started getting the full value from it, I think, and the team thinks. As it goes forward, it will challenge some of our assertions. It will challenge our vernacular. It will challenge almost our culture. We'll talk less and less about how big or how pre-planned a campaign is, and more about allowing the black box, in effect, to let the different content find its way. I'll give you an example. Every week, we're kicking out 2 or 3 pieces of content, in fact, more, 5 or 6 pieces of content on Tech Talk. So it's our, in old-fashioned term, our blog or our content hub for any old tech topic. And 1 minute it's washing machines, another minute it's gaming. And right now, it doesn't have much of a home in email. We've done the odd thing, and it does manifest in some ways in email, but it doesn't have a big home. In the future, all of that will be able to manifest as an individual email, and DaVinci will help us find its way. So, in theory, when you're ready to read that article about your broken dishwasher that's smelling a bit too much, well, it'll land. And we don't need to segment for that. DaVinci will help us, won't you? Won't you, DaVinci?
Yes, in the DaVinci robot voice, I'll say that. I mean, you made a lot of great points there. I think, one of them you talk a lot about. Kind of, it can run most of it, right? Can it run all of it? Maybe not. I'd love to kind of pivot to you, Julie. Mm-hmm. How can you think about, you've talked a lot about like the trust curve with consumers. Like there's some experiences that you can use AI, right? Like there's customers don't mind it, but there's some where you need a lot of trust, you need a lot. And so you prefer not to use AI in certain touch points. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So we are obviously innovating and experimenting like everyone right now with AI. And where do you use it wisely versus where do you still keep it in the background for back office work? Right now, we've been using AI in the travel industry, by the way, for decades now. It is not a new phenomenon in how we run our systems. Our revenue management for hotels is very much AI driven in how we drive pricing and availability. What's new is now we're bringing it more and more customer-facing, and opportunities to bring it customer-facing are where we're starting to experiment in. I think that is where there is opportunity to bring it into the booking path, bring it into the way that we do social media and engage, but it is a careful test and learn. AI is also as good as the questions you ask it, as we were talking earlier. If you ask a very basic question, AI will give you, their version of the result. But the more you human creatively feed the right questions, the better AI will service you as well. And I think that's true for how we have to teach ourselves how to use it in our own way that we use the systems to design how we build content, how we build personalization tools, but then also our customers have to learn how to work with us in a way that serves them the answers that they're looking for that are really specific. So it is an experimentation time right now. I think it's going to be very exciting to see where it takes us, because AI will change the way you search for travel. going into Google and searching and having Google results dictate where you plan your trip, and doing lots of different website searches is going to perhaps go away very quickly. You'll be able to use some AI chatbots that will start to innovate how those returns come to you based on what your AI has taught from you or learned from you. And there may be a complete disruption in the way distribution goes for travel in the future.
Yeah, I told some of you this story already in our customer advisory board meeting yesterday, but I'm staying at this Fairmont property, as I mentioned, and I found it through ChatGPT. I was very specific about the kind of vacation I wanted, and it showed up a bunch of hotels, but the first recommendation was a Fairmont property. I will say there's still some limitations, as I told some of you. I also asked it what I should wear for today. I described this event in great detail, like who's Movable Ink. We have all of our brand collateral, and it showed up some ball gowns. So I did not obviously listen to ChatGPT, but yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that's where AI still has a human element to it, is the creativity is still in the quality, first of the aspirations of what you're aspiring to achieve, but then also what are you asking in terms of the questions to the model itself, and helping to shape those answers by the quality of questions you give.
Well, that's, a perfect segue, Julie, into my next question, which is, a lot of pundits and media are saying that AI is going to take all of our jobs, right? Like AI is going to take over. We don't have to do anything. But there's probably this creative part, right? Like there's a human touch and human element. So Dan, what do you think of that? Is AI going to take your job, my job, all of our jobs? Or?
Hope not. Well, first of all, I feel bad. I didn't ask AI about how to get dressed. I got dressed in the dark and didn't think about it. So I need to put more thought
that
into these
explains
things.
it.
Yeah, that explains it. No, I think there's always going to be a role for humans, of course. I think that it's a cliche almost now that us humans, we have to learn how to best use AI as a partner, as a tool, both strategically and tactically. People often think about AI as almost getting rid of the boring bits of the work, which it probably does. It probably will, even more so in the future. But it's also going to be a strategic challenger. It's also going to play a role in strategic thinking and strategic development. In fact, it already is for many of us. But that's going to explode, I think. But I think there's always going to be a role for humans. I'd also say this. I think it's going to increase the quality of marketing generally. I think, how many people get on the tube to come here, saw some ads on the tube and go, oh my God, what is that? Put your hands up if you kind of do that regularly. It's quite a lot. And if you go in certain marketing crowds, it's like the whole room. There's so much slop and crap out there. There's so many poorly trained marketeers that are not marketeers, so poorly trained people that aren't really marketeers doing marketing, not just in outdoor, but in all sorts of industries. Not in this one, actually, but in all sorts of angles of marketing. And it's slop. And so, AI, as it gets better, it will stop that, because it'll put a quality in-house team at the disposal of every CEO, even before they hire the humans. So I hope it does, because the industry, our industry, deserves it. And it's kind of embarrassing when you see some of the stuff out there.
Yeah, I think I say this all the time, but I feel like AI gives you get to actually create again. That is why we call this event Create.
Yep.
AI gives you the power to do things that bring us joy. It's, as marketers, it's creating these innovative new strategies, and let the machine kind of take care of the rest. Dan, I know at Curry's you did the Beyond Texpectations campaign, and I'm going to read, you said, "We don't want to be vanilla." You were quoted in press as saying that, and I think it's so true. How do you stand out? It's let the machine do those dailies, the offers, the promotion sends, those kind of things, and let humans come up with those innovative campaigns for Black Friday, or really kind of brand-led campaigns like Beyond Texpectations. Julie, what are your thoughts on how do you balance this kind of human element with AI?
Well, again, I think it goes back to being really using the human vision to set the strategy and the vision and the ambition of what it is that you're trying to achieve. That's very much tied to your overall corporate strategy. And then within that, AI is also pulling from information that you feed it. So you have to make sure that the information it's feeding is both correct and current and represents the foundations of that vision you're trying to implement. So there's a lot of work, I know at a core, that we need to do to make sure that the databases that we have and the information we have at the foundation that we pull from is current and clear and accurate and well represented for all of our properties. Because it's kind of a garbage in, garbage out situation. So there's a lot of human touch in making sure that that data foundation that you feed is as optimal as you need it to be. And that's not easy to do across all the different pieces that AI is pulling from. So that's a big piece of work.
You know, I often get asked, what is the role of an entry-level marketer with AI? Because it used to be kind of moving things around in the calendar and the kind of rote campaign management, which now AI can do. My belief is that what you're talking about is kind of going to be how you get your foot in the door in marketing. You know, putting the human guardrails around AI, what's the data quality, prompt engineering, and then as you grow in your careers, you'll grow into that strategic, creative leader. All right, we've talked a lot about AI. Obviously, this is the top innovation that I think almost all of us in the room are looking at. Am I right? Do I see some head nods? Yeah. What about non-AI innovations? Like, what are you looking at that has nothing to do with AI, but something really innovative in the industry? Dan, I'm going to start with you.
QR codes. Has anyone ever heard of a QR code? I'm serious. We obviously have QR codes, but we don't use them very well.
You can use Movable Ink Studio for QR codes.
Yeah,
we'll talk to your team.
Great. Yeah, you're advertising my adverts. Fabulous. We don't use them very well. We are working on something whereby when you're in our stores, you can already use a QR code to trigger a product page on the website, for example. But it's not perfectly designed for that moment when you're in a store, when you're browsing, when you're trying to work out what this thing is and what it does. And you're zooming in and scrolling, and you don't really want to do that. We've trialed something whereby a QR code triggers, in effect, a Instagram stories style presentation of the product. Quick, short, 3 or 4 second videos of the 5 or 6 things that the product does. And it sounds really simple, doesn't it? It sounds, almost like I should be sitting on a stage 6 years ago, 7 years ago, talking about this. But retailers don't do it, and I don't know why. So yeah, we're going to do it, and we've already done it in a small way. We've done it with a few of our supplier partners, and it's blown us away. You can measure it all. You can measure how many people are triggering it, how many people are using it. How many people are buying as a result of that? Well, not quite as a result, but you can do a bit of analysis to work that out. And it's having a real impact. So yeah, you heard it here first. QR codes are going to take off.
Can't wait. Julie?
Well, I think one project that we're running in parallel is a refresh of our central reservation system, which is a big project for any travel industry group. And without getting into the deep techie part of it, one of the big things that will open up for us is ability to innovate differently on how we price and how we set pricing at the hotels and with the hotel partners. And that can evolve eventually towards individualized, personalized pricing. So for your stay, rather than having a set price that's on a set inventory that's set by machine learning for anyone who comes into the app or into our website, that is an eventual ability to start generating individualized, personalized pricing. That will then marry with, of course, the AI and other capabilities that we have. That's a way off. We're not there yet, and we're not going to be there next year. But the industry as a whole is working towards that, building that capability. The next thing that comes with that is then the ability to package on that with other industry partners, like airline, car, hotel, combined together in having that all in one place so that you're not shopping between different components, but being able to package up on a dynamic basis what would be really personal to you for the venture or for the experience that you're wanting to have. Don't quote me on it yet. It's not there yet, but it's something we've been talking about as an industry, and I think the evolution of where things are growing is enabling us in that direction.
Yeah, love that. Love the QR codes. I personally am most excited about RCS because I think it's going to change the game for mobile messaging. All right, we have about a minute left. I see a lot of CRM teams here. I see your teams, right, sitting up front. If you could give any advice to the mobile, email team, CRM, loyalty teams, maybe 30 seconds, what would you tell them as they're looking to grow their careers and take their programs to the next level?
Me, sorry, yes, hi there. Stop going to conferences and do some work. No, I'm joking. For me...
Only go to this conference.
Only this one, yeah. I think for me, and my team will be well aware of this theme for us, it's just don't let yourself get overwhelmed. So much to do just to run the BAU, let alone to go after all these lovely innovation things that we're all talking about. You can only go after so much. So, be really clear in the BAU, what's the big things you got to do and how much time does that take. Hopefully there's some time left to go innovate. And then be really choiceful about where you're focusing time and energy on innovation. And don't let yourself go underwater. Don't let the newest fancy thing distract you from the 3 or 4 things you said you're going to go away and make a real difference on. I think that's the biggest trap for many industries within marketing, and this one's one of them, because it's exciting, and sometimes you just need to focus on where you've said you'll focus.
Absolutely. Julie, do you want to close this out?
It's on a similar theme. I think it's being really clear on your mandate and in your role and how you are connecting to the overall strategy that you're trying to drive. And if it's not clear, ask for clarity. And then also make sure that you're collaborating with the others within that vision that can help make that come a reality. So working across the different functions, across the different teams in a way, proactively collaborating and reaching across the different functions is an incredibly valued skill that also helps you learn. It helps you see how your input is connecting to the end result of someone else's, the marketing teams or the revenue management teams, results that drive to that end objective. And I think knowing your role within that and helping to frame it is incredibly valued.
Yeah, I always say we're all on the same team.
Yeah.
We all eventually have the same goal, which is the company's goal. And how can you define how you're going to help drive that? Well, we're out of time. Thank you so much for so many valuable insights. Please, everyone, give a round of applause for Dan and Julie.